psychologically unstable man with an extremely uneducated and barbaric frame of mind, whose raps displayed nothing but ridiculous jargon, shocking sexual audacity, and repulsive images of the ghetto. However, after further analysis of his music, I can deduce that he is the epitome of anti-disestablishment terrorism, who embodies the entire spectrum of the urban experience and struggle. But to make things more plain and simple to the layman, I find Ice-T to be the dopest, flyest, OG pimp, hustler, gangster player, hardcore motherfucker living today. To be honest, I am totally and completely on his dick.
Welcome to the Ice-T Final Level Podcast, featuring your co-host, Mick Benzo, and your host,
Ice-T.
Hey, yo, what's up out there? This is Ice-T and Mick Benzo, and this is podcast number 31.
Number 31. Hey, yo, guess what, though? Last time we had Buster on here, that shit was powerful,
Yeah,
man.
it's powerful, and we haven't, before Buster, we had Coco. That was incredible.
Oh, shit. That Coco episode was a motherfucker.
Coco been making sandwiches for everybody at the podcast, and finally she got on here, got a chance to talk, but it was cool because people wrote me, said, man, I finally got a chance to hear, Coco's story. It's funny, though, because you think people know everything about you, but they might not have listened to you that time you were on this channel.
On a regular radio station, yeah.
It's funny, though. I mean, when I did Combat Jack and I talked a long time, people were like, wow, that was the best interview. I hadn't heard you. So you always think people know the story, but they really don't. There's so many people in the world.
I think sometimes, too, it's the microphones that be fucking up.
Let's talk about these microphones.
Yeah, because we had some microphones, right? We got a special guest. We're not going to tell you his name yet. But
let's talk about these mics.
Yeah, we had some microphones that looked like, I guess, candy striped nurses. Y'all saw that, that was one of them Pono movies, right? It was real funny looking, man. But,
we had some different mics, and they weren't working. And people were saying, look, Ice, I love the podcast.
Yeah.
But your microphone game has to step up a little bit. Come on, Ice.
And as you being an entertainer, rapper, and a speaker, you knew the mics was bullshit, man.
I knew, but what am I going to do? But Shure,
Sure
called us.
Yeah,
they made it their point to call us and say, Ice, we love this podcast. Can we improve the sound of your podcast? And they sent us some beautiful Shure mics.
Yeah, I respect that. You know what? But Shure said they listened to the program. They liked it so much, but it was just too, I guess,
it wasn't
cracky.
sounding right.
It was too cracky for them. So they're like, man, that's Ice-T, man. It's nowhere in the world that we at Shure Company won't give my man Ice-T some microphone. And me, Mick Benzo, because I can't just leave me out. Fuck all that, man.
So we got a new sponsor here, Shure, who gave us these mics. Hopefully, I'm sounding like Barry White now.
Oh,
It sounds real good when I bring that bass to you and stuff.
Man.
And it's good that we got it because today we are very fortunate to have a legend. Now, there's all kinds of legends out there. You got musical legends. You know what I'm saying? You got movie legends. But you also got street legends. You got people that made a name in the streets. Now, one of my biggest accomplishments was when I made my first really acting debut.
What are you talking about, breaking?
Well, actually acting. Yeah, you saw me in breaking, but I was rapping in breaking.
Okay.
But when I first cut my teeth on acting, it was in a movie called New Jack City.
Oh, shit. Man.
Okay, everybody likes
New Jack City?
Everybody likes New Jack City. Okay, wow. In the movie, the characters in the movies, I was a fictional character named Danny. What was my name in that movie?
Scotty, come on, man.
Danny,
Scotty, will you stop it, Scotty?
You know what? Danny was in New York Undercover.
Yeah, you did that too on Fox TV. I remember that.
Okay, I was Scotty Appleton.
Yeah, Scotty.
Over there, and I was a fake cop, but...
Wait a minute, whoa. Before you say that, you talking about fake cop. You've been on TV as an officer for damn near 17 years, and I think you're the longest running goddamn cop on TV, bro.
Possibly, if not, you know what? If I'm not, I'm the longest running black cop, goddamn it. I'll throw black up in there. Because Mariska has actually been a cop longer than me. And then somebody got back at me and say, Belzer might have the record because he was on Homicide for all those years. And then he came over. So I ain't trying to take nobody's records, but it's a long time for a nigga who's a career criminal to be a police. God damn it. So anyway, let's get back to New Jack City.
Okay.
You had Nino Brown.
I remember Nino.
Played by Wesley Snipes. And then you had his partner, G Money.
That's Alan Payne. He actually played with Bill Cosby, too, on, like, The Cosby Show, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But in the house today.
Who?
as a special guest.
Right.
We have the original G Money from Harlem, New York.
G Money from Esplanade Gardens. That's where you from, G?
Speaking Mike, baby.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for having me on the show today. It's an honor. I guess it's history in the makings. I'd like to introduce myself to most of y'all who don't know me. I'm G Money. Good money, gave money, got money, and gonna get a little more money. As we're about to do it again, we get to take the old and new as we talk about the birth and the new Jack era on the block. I was there then, I'm here now, and I hope to still the stay to come.
What I'm trying to look at right now, you got a black hat on. It says CMB. That was in New Jack City. Cash Money Brothers. So you were actually a fan of that?
No, actually, CMB is actually my name.
Okay, well, break it down.
Well, CMB, Cash Money Brothers. What I thought about, I read a great book back in the years ago called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I thought about duplicating myself just with my lieutenants, like 30, 40 guys I had on my crew.
You was in the Army?
No, just
you said lieutenants.
Well, and back in the street days, it was about lieutenants. I had trustworthy guys that were my right-hand man. So this way I was able to stay home and send the guys into the block that people recognized that they were part of my crew. So they were part of the CMB.
Okay, Carl.
Right,
he's going in. He's going in.
Yeah,
G Money is in the house. He's got his book here, The Chronicles of a New Jack Era. And this is the
I think that look like Wesley Snipes, though.
No, this is him, nigga. Stop playing.
Oh, okay.
No, they switched out characters.
Okay, well, we're going to do that later. we just teasing him right now. This is the official autobiography of the original Gerald G Money, okay? And he is in the house, and the bottom of it says, "Am I not my brother's keeper?"
Oh,
so, it's funny, though, G, because we make these movies. They say based on a true story. But there's always somebody behind that true story. And we're very fortunate to have you here because your history, there's nobody out there listening to podcasts that didn't see the movie, that wasn't fascinated with the whole CMB, Cash Money Brothers dynasty that they created in the film. You know the whole thing from Barry Michael Cooper, right?
Amen.
Who wrote the book.
That's right.
Wrote the story. So we're going to get into that, man. And we're going to tell the true story that went on behind that. And we ain't going to dry snitch or put nobody in jail. We're going to keep it. Plus, you got the statute of limitations.
Well, no, that's why I'm still here. I kept a low key. The greatest gift was to keep a low key. Most guys didn't want to keep a low key.
Yeah.
And all those guys are done and gone. So.
Exactly. So we got G Money in the house, the original G Money. He's got a story to tell, and this is what happens on the Final Level podcast. We'll go from a celebrity that you're well known. We'll go to the streets. We go to authors. We go to sports figures, and now we're about to get into it. So you ready to go?
I'm ready to go, baby.
Okay. Hey, yo, this is Final Level Podcast number 31 with G Money, Mick Benzo, and this is news. Now, something that's going on in the news right now is this thing called net neutrality, which basically means the net companies, the internet providers, G Money, you tech savvy. You just walked in here with the goddamn speaker system MPT. See, he's pimping. Yeah. Yo, the players got to
using a bandwidth.
All the players got to learn this game. The game changes. My dad taught me. He said, if you're playing the same game you was playing 5 years ago,
you lose.
You losing. You got to keep picking up the new game as it comes out.
It's almost like the circus. The circus will change, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
No, the circus doesn't change, but the clowns do.
Okay.
You realize that, right?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So, right now, we on top of our game. And funny, G, Mickey will walk over to my house with a laptop. This is a nigga used to carry a gun. I say, Mickey, would you ever think you would be walking around with a computer?
No, I wouldn't have.
Ever?
No, wouldn't have.
Ever. It was so nerdy and all that. But now, if you ain't on the internet and you don't understand this cyber game, you messed up. And what they dealing with net neutrality, of course, the gangsters in the business are trying to jack people. They're trying to say, well, you could get a faster internet service over here. You got to pay more money.
That ain't fair.
And over here, it's slow and you pay less. And
why would I have to pay more? Because I'm using more bandwidth or I got more fans than you got?
It's corny. The government stepped in and said there's one internet and there's one price. It's like saying you got to pay better for better electricity in your house. Who, you know, like, think of it like that. Think of it like that.
Well, how could they do that?
Because they gonna jack you every chance they can. That's the game. You don't understand that the game is based on jacking.
And you guys got it so good, though, because back in the day, we didn't even have cell phones. We only had beepers. We had to have the change to get it. You guys are privileged to see that technology has changed and so advanced. Like the technology you have in your house, top of the line. We didn't have that back in the day. You guys are so privileged to see this that you could be
We could have had it if we had money.
had a tour right now in Europe and watching it in Europe through your computer.
It's beautiful. And the thing of it is, it's like, you're right. You build a new house. You stupid not to put the most
New
advanced technology in it, because in 10 years, it's going to be old. So if you build a house like you used to build a house, you really going to be behind. They're going to like, where do we hook up where's your Wi-Fi router? You're like, huh?
What is that?
I ain't got no Wi-Fi router in here. They might not even want to work on your house anymore. But it's like now, even if you walk in with it to your car, they want to know where does the computer hook up to it. You know, they're going to hook the computer to it.
Soon they're going to have Wi-Fi in the cars anyway, though. They do have them in some cars already.
Seth got it in his car.
See, they do have Wi-Fi in the cars. Yep.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying. You said they trying to charge us more money for bandwidth?
For
I don't
better internet service.
For faster speed.
Yeah.
When everybody should be equal. If I'm paying $29.99, I should get the same speed you paying, right?
And the government stepped in and said, nah, that's not going to happen.
Well,
Y'all
I heard
ain't gonna be able to jack
you say one time you got out of crime because it's being a crook, right? And that's what politicians are.
I got out of crime because I was a sucker. I basically look for honesty in crime. I mean, I felt that, you know, all of us, if we making a deal, we should be honest to each other. But my mistake was, when you're dealing in crime, everyone is a liar, a cheater, and a thief. And so eventually somebody's going to try to get slick. And I just really never was part of the side where you had to enforce. I didn't like having to go step to my boy or a friend of mine and do all that heavy shit that goes along with the rules of the game.
Well, maybe G Money can tell us about his story about that.
He knows. We gonna get into G Money.
We
gonna get into G Money. Mickey will segue out of anything into something else. But you feel me when I'm talking about.
Sure, I do.
And you understand how foolish you are to look for honesty in crime. But some of us did. We look for.
There's no honesty among thieves, B. Come on, man. We stealing.
Well, don't look for honesty in the government.
Okay. Well, hey.
Whenever there's money on the table, somebody's going to try to take a little bit more than they deserve. And, you know, our government is capable of doing some dumb shit, but hopefully they stepped in and they handled this problem, nipped it in the bud. Internet is for everybody, and nobody can try to squeeze you in the process.
Well, I dig that. And I got some news, though, man. I'm trying to figure out the president of the United States, Barack Obama, right? How he's getting threats from ISIS, and then we have people living right here in our circle in America making those threats against our United States president, and all they do is lock him up. Do the same thing they're doing in ISIS, man. Let's cut some fucking heads off, man. Let's cut some heads off, man.
We can't do that, Mickey. You can't.
ISIS doing it, man. They not afraid of nothing. And guess what? If we don't step our game up, we're going to be under their martial law.
Yeah, well, you dig this, baby. There's one thing we in the United States are supposed to be is a little bit more civilized.
Yeah, exactly. Civilized. You know, it's funny that you mentioned all that. You know, this goes back again with how this was made to be, like your heart. You know, return good for evil. I know that's hard to do.
But, brother, they keep threatening us, and they keep coming at us. And like
Malcolm
said, I'm going to be fair to you if you fair to me. You smack me in my cheek, I'm going to smack you back. This is not about, let's just keep turning our cheeks to the next motherfucker to knock us out now, bro. Wow. Enough is enough. We got to understand, if they're taking action the way that they're taking action against my president, Barack, who's done a great job, and keep being disrespected, it's time for him to step up. He only got one more year in office.
But anyway. Mickey, we have our ways of getting back at terrorists. You know, basically, you see Bin Laden got taken out. You see what they do, Gaddafi. Not Gaddafi. Who they found in the hole?
Osama. Osama.
Saddam Hussein.
Okay.
They found him in the hole. But hiding and shit. My point is this. Our government is a little bit more fly and gangster. They'll be like, okay, we'll take them insults. And then SEAL Team 6 will show up at your door and it'll be a wrap. You dig what I'm saying? Okay. We're not going to get out in front of people and cut heads off and do all that bullshit. That's minor league shit. Mm-hmm. When the United States comes, they're going to send one of them motherfucking bombers in and it's going to be a serious wrap. What G Money is saying, we can't become as savage as these other people are and then turn around and call ourselves the United States of America. We have to set a principle of some form of reform. I understand you mad. Yes, we mad. Yes. But they got
It's just a question. It's
kind of like this, man. It's kind of like this. A motherfucker threatened me. Mm-hmm. You know, Ice-T, I'll kill you if I see you in the streets and shit like that. Do I return a threat or I just say, that's cool? That's cool. And then people go, oh, Ice-T, you a punk. Like, yeah, that's cool. And 5 years later, this person is missing. You got to figure out how real players handle these types of situations. Yeah. You can't just go eye for an eye. You say, okay, we see y'all get down. And then they get real crafty. Don't sleep on the United States. They ain't to be fucked with, right?
We got great Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines,
and we got black ops too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, I believe that this is where new leaders are required to come forth now. You know, the last will be first, and the first will be last. Mm. I hear all the problems that the world are going through right now, and this is where everything that we need to have has been provided for us. When we learn, what is it that life has to offer us, To be in the world and of the world, you'll be concerned about the things of the world. But when you learn how to really adapt to the things that are made here for you, to be able to tread over the enemy and all the problems like this, it won't move you in a direction out in the way of the will of God for your life. That's my vision to why I'm still here. If I had to replay eye for an eye, I wouldn't be here now talking to you about that. Because, first of all, as movies are made, first of all, to still be here, we were never infiltrated. None of us never went to jail, and I never killed nobody. But I did have my share of beating brothers up.
Preach.
Now, give me my money, but that's another story. I don't claim to be the toughest guy in the world, but I see where leadership is now required. And I see a lot of us are still moved in the direction what the news is reporting to us. And I'm one to not be a reporter of bad news, but we have that coming now. And this is where I think right now that all the leaders that were engaged with doing, certain things that, we took over certain parts of things that we weren't realizing that we would have an effect on everybody. Mm-hmm. To this day now, I look back to see why I'm still here. And, the concerns that bothered me with sickness, disease, poverty, ill health, and lack coming from the relationships of people who are still here, that they've been carrying it on for, like you said, a change in 5 years. I mean, you still doing the same thing? You haven't found an advance in anything else? Mm-hmm. Well, this is that time now. I see that you've been informed pretty well of what the world had to say about it. Now let the real leaders come forth and talk about how we solve the problem.
The problem is, G Money, right now, is if you ask somebody name a leader, especially in our community, you say name a black leader, they scratch their heads. Because nobody wants to step up and be a leader. Everybody wants to sit on the sideline and make comments and throw stones.
It's called cheerleaders.
Yeah, but no one's really stepping up and saying something. And it's funny, when these dramatic things happen, they'll go to myself, they'll go to KRS-One, they go to Chuck. I'm like, we rappers. And then also you got a whole new generation of young kids that are speaking. We need young 20-year-old kids that are really stepping up with education and understanding and to lead. And the fact is we have a lack of leaders. But you did hit on something. Everything the United States does to another country creates another enemy or another problem. And it's a chain reaction of effects. We'll go over to this country and we'll create a war, but we're killing fathers. Those sons are going to grow up to hate the United States. So we have this cycle of pain that's going to always circle around the country and the world. And, it's unfortunate. But, at the end of the day, Mick, we're sitting here doing the podcast, and we got nice heat, and we got a refrigerator full of food,
And we got my man Gerald G Money,
and we got G Money in the house, and
Come on.
and the snow is falling in New York, and
Look
we're just
beautiful though. It looks real goddamn good, but very nasty to drive.
and we just hope that these characters that are out here don't blow this whole goddamn world up, man, over their personal beefs and discrepancies and religion and all the different problems that make people want to fight. Man, nobody don't want that, man. I just want to play some Xbox, man.
Hey, that's a good look. Yeah,
You keeping it real. You keeping it real.
And that was news. Hey, this is Final Level Podcast number 31 with the original G Money, and this is sports. What's going on in sports, Mr. Benson?
Well, I know one damn thing. My man, I'm going to say it over and over again. My man, Alex Rodriguez, is back. He's in the lineup. He might be playing first base. G Money, my man is going to do what the fuck
I thought he was a third base.
No, he was. That's what happened. He was that. Now we move on to first base. You know what I mean? Hey, look, man. Yankees is going to look real good this summer.
Alex Rodriguez. I'm happy for Alex because I believe everybody deserves a second chance. Plus, the simple fact that I think that he got whooped on for no reason because
Man, he sat out for a whole goddamn season, B. He apologized.
Every other person in professional footballs is taking some type of enhancing drug. I mean, come on, man. If you put me on a team and you told me, look, this is what it is. This is your livelihood. And if you take this medicine right here, this is going to make you hit harder. Come on, man. Let's be serious, man. And all them guys out there is doing a little this or doing a little that.
Well, I got no comment, man. That's baseball, baby. We don't use enhanced drugs.
Who?
None of us. We don't use that stuff out there.
I did ecstasy. That enhanced my dick one night. That shit worked.
Yo,
that shit worked.
I started to be a baseball player, but it was something in that field I just couldn't catch.
This nigga got jokes. But that's a good thing. You know what I heard on the news, though? God bless Alex Rodriguez. We not haters. I honestly believe all that shit was based around some contract money. They did not want to pay that man. They found a loophole. They put him out there on, to be disrespected and hurt. And this is a way they got out of some of them millions.
Sure.
That it's always money.
Yeah, it's money. It's about money.
People act, oh, this is
Y'all are listening to
this, morally that. I'm like, it's money. Money is at the G Money. Money's at the root of 99% of all bullshit. And somewhere in there, you'll find some money. Oh, my baby's mama's tripping. I bet it's got something to do with some money.
Podcast number 31, boy. We got G Money.
She saw that jewelry you had on in that picture, and it sent her on one. Okay, but listen, this is what I heard. It's crazy.
Okay.
I heard LeBron's kid, 10 years old, is being scouted by scouts in the NBA. And that's against the rules, right?
No, it's not.
No, it is against the rules. You can't scout a kid till they're in the 9th grade.
Man, listen, if he played in high school and was good, he can jump right
10.
into the fucking NBA.
He's 10.
Yeah, well, there's some 13-year-old doctors out here, too.
You're not even paying no attention, you goofy ass one. How old is your son?
13.
No, Sir Johnny was 11 when he first started
playing football.
All right, 10 years old, man. Pros ain't supposed to be scouting no 10-year-old kids. I mean, LeBron don't like it neither.
Oh, shit.
He don't like it.
LB
He's like,
don't
look,
like that?
He's LeBron. What do you expect?
He's like, come on, man, leave my son alone. I guess one would be a flattery.
Right.
But, all these schools sending him this, like, they don't even know if this little nigga can add. They don't know.
Not being funny. That's true, though. I like that. That's unfair to do that. I was just joking, but it's unfair to target children for, NBA or NFL or
colleges,
baseball, into the major leagues when they haven't even finished, the high school. At least let the young gentleman, LeBron James' son, get to high school and get something going. Why y'all throwing that out there? I definitely appreciate LeBron James being a real father saying, leave my goddamn child alone until he's eligible to do that.
It's kids right now, kids are easily distracted, so you take a kid right now that needs to be learning something and distract them saying, oh, you could play pro ball already. You could fuck a kid's head up like that.
I mean, I think that's the respect I get for being around Ice G Money. I call him up sometimes like, yo, man, they got this little part for Lil Ice in the movie. I don't know if he's going to get it. He says, Mick, don't do that, man. My son needs to focus on what he's doing. Don't make him think he can be an actor and fuck his brains up, B. You know, putting him out there like that, that's not cool. You know, just because I'm an actor and I'm Ice-T doesn't necessarily mean my son could follow the same footsteps.
I mean, if he works for it, it's cool, but I think it distracts kids, you know, this fame shit too early. What do you think, G?
Well, everything is duplication. I guess if it was been an average guy like a John Blow from the projects, his son is 11, 12 years old. They're not sorting after him.
Right.
This is the industry. It's part of the business. Mm-hmm. And they see that as following him as like Michael Jackson as a child. And he rose up and then he became Michael Jackson solely. But they knew that he would be who he is. And anything that's, even his son, his children, today, they always looking at, oh, that's Michael Jackson's sister. That's his brother. It's a duplication. I think that...
Do you think it's okay? Is it you think
if that's the kid's dream? You got to remember, don't destroy a kid's dream. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody has dreams, and the dream is inside. And if you destroy that, then you destroy the child. If that's his admiration, that's just what he wants to do, then that's his dream. We're not going to destroy the children's dream.
The kid is good, too. They got videos of this little kid doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, he is LeBron. He got some good DNA. You know,
somebody picked it then. Someone saw what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he would be just as good 10 years down the line after his father's gone.
Yeah.
That may be the case. The only one knows that is God.
Well, let him get to high school then, man. Let him at least make it to high school.
I think
bro.
if somebody was scouting my kid at 10 years old, I would be happy. I understand that. I think I would be flattered as hell. I would be telling everybody, yo, USC just called about my son. You know, we would be proud. But I think, like you saying, since it's LeBron and he's like, my kid is good. My kid is not going to ever need for nothing. Right. I'm successful. You can ease back off my son for a minute and let him get his.
Well, we can use that same scenarios with Snoop's son. Mm-hmm. Snoop happy in the motherfucker. His man got picked up at UCLA to play football and loving it, but he's of age.
Yeah, he's of age.
There's a difference. He's of age, and little Snoop is not the one for nothing. But like you said, LeBron James is being a real father. He's not just saying, okay, you know what, you like my son, I think it's great. No, leave my child alone
until he
gets to, you know, adulthood or at least makes it to high school.
Is this his comment towards the reporters and the information here? Okay.
Yeah, basically that's what he's saying. I think Puffy's son is playing pro ball or
but
college ball.
But he's of age. He's not the one for nothing either. Once again, LeBron James is being a good father by stating, leave my child alone until you get to high school.
I think what happens, though, when kids get around, lack of a better word, successful parents, they might pick up a work ethic. You know, it's like my son, he's around me all the time and he's a hustler, you know. I mean, his
legally, let's put it out there. Legally,
but his brain is based around that because every time he gets around me, I'm up early in the morning. I don't eat. I'm hustling. And he's just like, damn, Dad, I just watch you grind. And it's like, it's you know, one of my favorite mottos is, and I always tell people when they don't understand our life, I say, you know, if you show me, I'll see. If you tell me, I'll hear. But if you involve me, I'll understand. And, you know, you could talk all you want to people, but sometimes you just got to say, come along. Mm-hmm. Just come along. Ride with me for a couple days and you'll get this. And until someone's really involved, they really do not understand the game or anything.
The hustle.
Hustle. You felt that, right?
The whole hustle. Involve me.
Involve me and I'll understand. So I think by the fact that Lil Ice has been involved and been on tour with me and been to TV with me and stuff, he kind of understands. So he doesn't sit back and go, oh, my dad got an easy job. You know, he's with it.
I'm liking this podcast number 31.
I'm talking about, you know, the thing about the difference in the guy who lives in the project. Mm-hmm. Not saying that, you know, everybody lives in the project, but to see your child succeed is the biggest lift of them all. You know, to give you a lift gives me a bigger lift. You know, and it's always about being a blessing to somebody else. Mm-hmm. These kids you guys are talking about are successful children.
Yes.
These are parents who are in the entertainment industry, people that want to be, and it's easy for them to get engaged with that. Mm-hmm. But what about the father that says, man, you know, I want my son to be a great basketball player. And I'm just talking for all the fathers.
Then he's got to work hard. He got to come out the rucker.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard, though. What he's saying is, see, I'm building say when you're parenting from a winning position, it's a lot different than
easier.
parenting
Sure,
from
exactly.
a
Easier.
losing position. Maybe father didn't do good. Maybe pops don't have a job, but he wants to see his kids grow. It's more difficult because the kid's looking at the pops saying, well, what happened to you? So you gotta really understand. I think the bottom line is kids gotta understand your parents are always gonna tell you the best thing. Sure. Because that's somebody who truly, honestly loves you. If you're parenting from a losing position, you still are telling them the right thing. If you're parenting from a winning position, then they can see the results of it. It's just hard. It's hard. Parenting is hard. Well, God bless LeBron, and that was sports. Hey, yo, this is Fine Level Podcast number 31, and this is movies. You know, the Oscars just happened. You know what I'm saying? Selma got a lot of good awards. They still getting awards for the music. God bless Common.
Common got his and
John Legend. That's gangster.
Big up.
A goddamn love. I love the fact my brothers are getting.
I'm glad you said that, though. I just want to say something. Somebody's mad about the Oscars.
Who?
Oprah. She didn't win shit. She mad.
What was she supposed to win?
She thought she was going to win off of making a Salma movie, another black,
Well, what was it? What award would she have won?
Best film. She won Best Film, but she didn't get it. She's mad. She probably won't be there next year sitting in them seats. But Common and John Legend, y'all did your thing on the soundtrack.
She kind of got it. She
didn't get nothing. Will you, brother? Please. Brother.
Oprah got mad. Oprah's too rich to get mad. She gets go home and burn some money and get warm or something. She ain't got no time to get mad. But I saw some movies. I haven't really been to the movie theater, but I got my TV up and running and stuff, and I'm using Apple TV, so I'm seeing all the movies. You know,
you promoting Apple TV?
Nowadays, I wish they'd send me some. Apple.
I'll
take a
check. You know what I'm saying? Send me some too.
I'll take a check.
I know what I'm saying.
I was just basically saying it to say it. And I watched TV.
Okay.
You know, now they're pumping speaking about the internet again, they are downloading films through the internet that are higher quality than DVD right now. You know, it's like the quality.
You mean from a Netflix perspective?
High definition.
Apple?
If you go HD,
right,
it's better. It's like Blu-ray level.
Wow.
This is how good the internet has become. So I'm sitting there watching. I've seen a couple of movies. One I want to talk about is a movie called Gone Girl. Have you
Gone
seen
Girl? No, I haven't seen that. You know, I don't
seen
go to
it?
movies much.
Ben Affleck in it. It's Ben Affleck movie. I'm not a great Ben Affleck fan, but it's a movie about Ben Affleck. He gets married to this chick, and the movie is so hard to talk about without giving it away. But since we're on a Fine Level podcast, I'll talk to the people that have seen it. Those that you who haven't seen it should have seen it. This bitch is crazy. It's a crazy movie, a crazy woman movie,
right,
where he hooks up with this chick, and first half of the movie, I'm giving it away. Fuck you. If you don't want to listen
turn the channel. Just turn it off.
Fast forward through this, but I'm going to give this shit away. He hooks up with this chick, right? And first part of the movie, you think he killed his wife. His wife faked the murder, then ran off with his money because she found out he was cheating. Mm-hmm. And all through this movie, this woman does some of the craziest shit you've ever seen. And then at the end of the movie, she comes back to the motherfucker, and he can't tell anybody. It's just the wildest shit. Let's just say like this. Here's a spoiler. She hits herself in the face with a ball-peen hammer.
Oh, she's good. She's good.
Gone Girl, highly recommended. Go see it. I know I gave the damn thing away, but
still go see it.
It's worth, because when I first seen it, I'm like, Ben Affleck, okay, I got it. He lost me at Goodwill Hunting. I'm like, okay, you dig. But I'm going to see the movie because my boy was like, see the movie. I'm like, really? Then you know how you look at a nigga and be like,
are you for real?
See that. Then you say, Mickey,
I'll go see
this movie.
Yeah. I want to see it. I saw the coming attraction, but I don't go to movies much, man. I got too many goddamn kids, man.
Yeah, that's your fault. And I wasn't there when that happened, so it's not my problem.
You got two heads. One tells you when to come, and one tells you when to go. You didn't know when to go.
He only got one head. He got one head. And it don't like raincoats. It don't wear raincoats.
Oh, man.
It don't wear raincoats.
I thought you had kids, man. Wow, it's okay. We ain't gonna be mad at you.
Man, listen, this nigga got not a basketball team. He got damn near a football team.
I got 10 kids, baby. You know,
What?
yeah.
Wow.
I play some basketball with subs.
Well, check it out, man. I ain't gonna boast about anything, man, but I got 5. Actually, I got 6, but I got 5. I got 4 girls, 28, 28, 28, and 28.
So you was fucking
and my
different
son.
women the same time.
Well, that's the way you use it. I was just G Money at the time. You was eating at McDonald's when you could have been eating shrimp and hanging out with the big leads, and we can travel and fly all over the country. That was a big difference in the story when you had that relationship. But, we were in that just for what it was. I ain't going to kid you not. That's what
Gerald
happens with
G
money.
Money.
Money is to make happiness and to make love. It's something when you can tell somebody, man, don't worry about it, I got it.
Okay, and
right.
that was
It's
movies. Okay, this is Fine Level Podcast number 31 with G Money and the infamous
Mick motherfucking Benzo with the Mictionary. You know what? Y'all ain't
AKA the Human
Wait a minute.
Mictionary.
Y'all ain't sent me no new words for my Mictionary, man. G Money, you saw my Mictionary, right? You seen it. Tell the truth. You seen it, right?
No.
G Money, did you see my Mictionary?
I will be honest with you, man. No.
Oh, that's some monkey shit
telling
right
the truth.
there.
You
man.
ain't lie.
That book is
Don't
in
lie.
Barnes and Nobles. It's on iTunes. You didn't see it.
Nah, I didn't see it, man.
All right, well, you need to pick up the Mictionary.
G Money.
After this, man.
He will add a word to the Mictionary today before this podcast is over.
I
Now
thought I thought that was just him naturally talking. Always coming up with some stuff. I be on the phone with him. He's like, hold on a second. Let me see here. Oh, how you gonna like this one, G? They gonna love this one. I said, what you talking about, man? I said, I called to find out. We getting ready to do this thing at the club. He says, man, hold on. So I got a word for them niggas today.
Yeah.
I got a word for them today. And I said, now I see what you talking about.
When he
It's the
says this
Mictionary.
word, he's going to say, we don't know what it's going to be.
It'll pop off
We'll
sooner or
just
later.
say Mictionary. Throw that in the Mictionary because he would definitely say something,
Mictionary.
some unknown English. Okay. All right. And now let's go into television.
Okay.
Now, me and Coco been watching this show. It's called Outrageous Acts of Science. Have you ever seen that one?
Nah, yeah, I'll be
You don't watch nothing
crazy
intelligent.
as shit,
This is a
man.
show where they got these scientists that sit up and they kind of like will watch video clips off the internet and they explain.
You got a lot of time on your hand to be watching all this shit for a person to be out there working, bro. A lot of time on your hands.
Let me explain to you something, player. I work and then I come home. I lay in my bed and I watch TV. I have a television, a DVR that records the particular TV shows that I'm interested in. I'm not out in the streets. I'm not out handling bullshit business, running over, having meetings with niggas that ain't got no money, talking about we want to talk. I don't do that. I go to work and I rest. I have 2 things in my life. It's either work or rest. Those 2 things. I don't do cordial bullshit like, yo, Ice, let's go hang out over here in the club and drink and shit. I could drink right here at my house. You see, I got a bar.
You got a big bar.
If
too.
I wanted to drink,
Yeah, big
I
bar.
got food in the refrigerator, so I
Got
don't need to
food.
go to the store. You dig? I sit right in my motherfucking house and I live.
Okay.
And I watch a little TV and
Then
play
that-
the video games now.
Right.
and
Well,
then.
then that answered
Video.
that question.
So now, back to what I do and not what you do. You obviously you out throwing your dick in every motherfucking thing that moves, making babies. That's not helpful to the
I'm a
motherfucking
married
game.
man. I don't do that no more. I'm a married man.
Yeah, well, damn it, I'm okay. Me and Coco watch television.
Stop lying, baby.
Yeah, stop lying.
No,
So
I'm
I'm
on
watching.
the baby mamas.
Anyway, back to my fucking TV show, Outrageous Acts of Science. I'm watching this show, and it's incredible. And it just shows all kinds of people doing all kinds of crazy shit, but it's based around science. These niggas are setting themselves on fire, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But I advise my fans and people out there that listen to the podcast, if you got a DVR, put in Outrageous Acts of Science, and it'll be entertaining. And also, since we're on TV, let me segue back into Law and Order.
Mm-hmm.
We usually do a segment called Behind the Scenes of SVU. But I'll just throw this into the TV show. SVU got picked up for the 17th season.
Damn. Already? Y'all ain't finished this season yet, though, bruh.
Look.
How did that happen? No. Last time it took y'all to the bitter end to get picked up for 15. Now you telling me that you ain't finished this season yet.
We're on the 16th
and you
season.
know you're going to they picked up 17.
Dude, I'm driving in the car, and I get a phone call, and they go, Ice, you just got picked up for the 17th season. I'm like, nah, this is a bad joke. You dig what I'm saying? Because when they pick you up for 17th season, as far as in my life goes, that's 23 episodes, and G Money, that's 23 checks that you can count on. That's a year's pay. It's guaranteed, if they pick you up for that.
But how you know you still on the show, though? Just because they picked up 17 don't mean you still on it.
Nigga, they love me on that show. I'm not going no motherfucking where. I'm in that motherfucker like swimwear. I'm in there like swimwear. Me and Mariska are the only two original members of the show. I came in last episode of the first season, but we're on there. Don't worry about us.
All right.
You dig it? But 17 seasons, that's only because of the fans. The fans have supported this show. I got to send nothing but love out. A lot of the SVU, let me speak on this. A lot of the SVU fans won't listen to the podcast because I'm too raw on here. I'm too harsh.
Raw naturally, man.
But on television, they got this guy named Finn who's a little, more politically correct. He's not bad. He's not
That's
Ice-T.
a damn good show. Be honest, though. It's a good show. And I think it should. I think it should get to
Ice makes the
2021,
show.
though.
What I'm talking about is a lot of my SVU fans just need to kind of give the podcast a break. All you people that are listening to the podcast who are SVU fans, tell your friends.
Spread the word.
Listen to Ice. Give him a chance. Listen to him on the podcast, and you'll enjoy it. And we are on. It's the 17th season. And
Congratulations.
I just want to say thank you to everybody out there that supported this show. And I just want to say special thanks to everybody out there that watches the TV show from the bottom of my heart. Ice-T, SVU, 17th season. We love y'all. Thank you very much. Okay, this is Final Level Podcast number 31 with the infamous Mick Benzo.
Yeah, and my man, the guest in the building, is here too, baby.
I think it's time to talk to G Money.
I want to talk to Gerald G Money from the Esplanade Gardens. He says something very, very important happened against this movie Ice was played. It called New Jack City, right?
Break it down, baby.
Wait a minute. So you are Nino Brown?
No, I look more like Nino. I look more like Nino Brown than the real Nino Brown looked like, and his name was changed to protect the innocent. I can't tell you the whole story. You got to read my book in order to see the whole story.
You got a book out?
Yeah, the book is first of all, the birth of New Jack era is one, and the rebirth is the New Jack era.
Okay.
Not only the book tells the whole story, how it all began, how we grew up as kids, how this thing started. As I got a question for you, Ice. In the movie, as I got an opportunity,
New Jack City movie, right?
Yeah, New Jack City. That's all we talking about right now.
Yeah, there was, and this is like, you hear everybody talking about, yeah, I'm G Money. You got all these guys now claim to be G Money. Alan Payne was an actor. He played Gerald G Money as an actor. What I wanted to share with you was that as kids, we grew up with dreams of watching the idol figures of the world. There were many idol figures that were in the world for us. New Jack City was a time where Hollywood got an opportunity to explore. But here's the question I want to ask you, Ice. Mario Van Peebles came in there and asked you a question. I want to lay a couple names on you. Before the guy was shooting in that place, I want to remember, do you remember your line? It was a line that was questioned. He said, yo, I want to lay a couple names on you. His name is Nino Brown and his sidekick, Gerald G Money. Wells, what was your line?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. A couple of brothers from the Esplanade Gardens call themselves so-called gangsters.
Right.
Yeah, stick up kids, robbers, and so. And then all of a sudden, that went about.
Right.
They never knew. They would try to say that New Jack City was based on some guys out of this place, that other place, Queens and all. Originally, from the script in your line alone, identified the two main characters,
which was the truth.
Yeah.
Now, the writer of the movie, you guys knew him.
We lived in the same building. We lived on the same floor.
Okay, what's his name? Barry
Michael Cooper.
Yes, sir.
And my Nino Brown lived on it. I only say Nino Brown to protect his name from the innocent.
Right.
But he lived on his 6th floor, and I lived on the 18th floor.
Did y'all work together for real though?
Yeah. We would. You would not know that we weren't brothers because the way that we.
Can I ask this? And I definitely don't want to incriminate. Is he still alive?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, but anything else being a kingpin, there's kingpin time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes you don't know when to get out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his avenue was he went to the dope game called The Boy, and I went with The Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the success between the two because The Boy was just out, but The Girl became more popular.
Can I explain it to people?
Sure.
Boy, as far as in the game, Boy is heroin, and Girl is cocaine.
That's right.
Okay.
But I didn't know that it would become so popular.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went to the Dominican Republic. My dad, he retired deputy chief of New York City Fire Department. I played 2 different roles. And, you know, a little later we talk about other things that I was doing while I was involved with the CNB.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lady that came back and she worked for Wall Street and she kept coming back like every hour to buy a gram of coke.
Mm-hmm.
A gram of coke was $100 a gram. You had to even work somewhere to get that type of money because $200-$300 in those days was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But Wall Street had the big market, so I branched out.
So you can honestly say you worked on Wall Street then.
That's where the Wall Street junkie came from,
Right.
and you know I never knew that it would be so popular to bring that it spread across the world throughout what it was the Wall Street junkie, along with crack itself. You know, to be able to take the powder and make a rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was just a luck that people went into the...
Now, we were making, in L.A., they were making rock cocaine. I mean, does anybody really know who was the first person to rock cocaine up and put baking soda with it and make it rock up? I mean, did that come from New York or the West Coast?
It was a Dominican crew.
Mm-hmm.
And they was discovering that it was more better to cook it up than to sell the powder.
Now, trip off this. Me and one of my partners, I could talk about this, my boy Shawnee Sean. Back in the day, we tried to get in the dope game. And that's when people were ether basing. Remember when they used to put the ether and the stuff that Johnny Guitar Watson would sing about and what Richard Pryor caught himself fired.
Say that, Richard Pryor, yeah.
And it was more like you would put ether on the coke and they put it on these dishes that were curved and you would twist it and turn it and it would grow into trees and then they would scrape it off of that. But this is before baking soda. And then it would scrape it off and put it onto the pipe. And so I was kind of like thinking, well, damn.
I see you're old vet.
Old vet, yeah.
I was surprised. Now I see where your street savvy came into the industry where you are now today.
Yeah, no, I'm from it. I was really from it. So they would scrape it off, you know, off of it. And you put the screens into the pipe and then you scrape it. So me and myself, I'm like saying, yo, this is still a lot of work for somebody to do. You got to almost have a laboratory to do this. If we could scrape the stuff off of the plate and put it into vials, we could sell it pre-done. The problem is those are crystals and they wouldn't stand, they would dissolve over a period of time. So we had took them and we put them in the refrigerator and we were trying to invent crack.
Experimenting.
We were trying to make it so you could freebase
Right.
automatically, right? So we did some and we had like a, few ounces of that stuff and we rocking it. It wasn't rocking at that time, but the shit spoiled. And I'll never forget one of my buddies who had been smoking rocks came over and said, man, listen, man, I've been smoking rocks for 2 days and now you got me sitting here in front of some ether base, right? And and we like, what are you talking about? He's like, man, y'all think you advanced, but you're behind on the other side of town. Just put some bacon. So he told us how they were making rock. But the irony of the story is, if we had have invented it, I'd be dead. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I was there.
Accident. That's what I told you in the beginning.
The accident probably would have ended up in my death. Thank God I wasn't able to, because everybody who was at the edge of that or the precipice of that whole genre got wiped out. You know, my boy from LA, Daft, OG Daft, First Daft, all these cats were there when it first started.
Well, I still want to see my man G Money talking about. I'm back.
No,
to
I'm
the
following
New Jack
the story.
City. I'm the New Jack City. When your guy in the building wrote that story, did he come to you guys and say, "Yo, I'm gonna put this out, but I'm gonna use your name and Nino's name"?
No, at the time I was doing comedy at the world famous Apollo
you a
Theater.
comedian?
Yeah, I started out at the Apollo.
How about that?
Yeah, I was there when Bobby Schiffman owned the Apollo. Honeycomb gave me my first job after winning like 6 weeks in a row. He had to call my mom to get a signature for me to go ahead and open up as a master of ceremony. He took a back seat and he let me perform. Later on, I came in contact with Rick Aviles, Van Paris, Roger Walker. There were some of the guys that were in the industry that I was engaged with. And what happened was I happened to get a little successful. I got on Bill Boggs' Midday Live with Rich Little. And it was an opening act for me. I had been experienced with the Apollo from dealing with that crowd. You know, the crowd makes you, professional comedian. But if you can deal with the Apollo crowd as hecklers, good. I seen Steve Harvey get booed off one time I came in there. They thought he was more like Richard Pryor.
Right.
They thought, I was like, wow. I didn't, because he sounded more like Richard Pryor during the time. So I got into the venture with comedy for a while. Pegasus, Studio 54, Leviticus, some of the big clubs. And I made a name for myself. And one of the keys was, first of all, my real name is Gerald. I took off the Mar to protect myself from the innocent. You know how they say, protect yourself.
Yeah.
Now, I took off the Mar and just left. All my family members always call me Gerald. But I made my first G with Nino Brown. I became Gerald G. And then I wanted the world to remember me by, I said, I need something that everybody can relate to. And that's where Gerald G Money came from. After that, today, I never thought that my neighbor would, be inspired by my idol figure, I guess, at that time that I was exposed to the Apollo, Felt Forum, Madison Square Garden, opening act. I was one of the youngest impressionists. I do voices too, by the way.
Wait a minute, hold up. Let's pause. We gonna get into that. Let's go back. We gonna go back. Okay. So Nino, we just say that name.
Yeah.
Nino went with the heroin. You went with the coke. Now the people down in Wall Street were buying and stuff. And was there ever a Cash Money Brothers? Was that a real thing?
Yeah, from 123rd Street. I don't know if you remember the thing called Chunky Black.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's the weed.
Yeah, it was Chunky Black was an herb. What I did was I had a guy that gave me some real dark Colombian smoke, and I sprayed it with something in my mother's kitchen. I didn't realize that it would create a big buzz. Well, when I sprayed it, I hit it with a hammer and stuck it together, and they asked me, what you gonna call it? It was all caked up, so I made like one joint in the bag it's called Chunky Black.
So you were experimenting again. You were in there spraying shit, hitting shit with hammers.
Yes, I hit it with a hammer. I hit it with a hammer, and it stuck together. My man had went to his father's car to get his toolkit, and in his toolkit was a razor blade, so I cut it in blocks. They said, what you gonna call it? I said, Chunky Black. They said, how we gonna sell it? I said, we're gonna rent a limousine. I'm gonna put y'all in black sweatshirts. It was the first crew, and they had a money sign on it. We went into Chunky Black. See, in the back of the can, it says, do not inhale. So you try to inhale the smoke, you can cough in your head off. You got 5 guys getting high on one joint. I marketed that, and I called it Chunky Black to this day. There was another one after that one came. It was the Afghanistan Astilia Sesamia before I got into the high category of the coke. The Afghanistan Sesamia was this long on a leaf in a pound. I cut it, and a lady was sewing.
It was a foot long.
Yeah, it was real long. So I was eating some Chinese food. I said, oh, why they keep giving these people, black people, Chinese sticks? And we can't even eat with them. What else can we do with them? So I took the 2 sticks and I put them down, and I measured it besides the weed. So I cut it. So the seamstress was sewing. So I said, can I get some of that thread for a minute? I tied it on the thread and tied it up. They said, what you gonna call that? I said, shit, it's on a stick. Why don't we just call it tie stick?
Wow.
You came up with Chunky Black from 123rd.
And Tide Stick. Now, Tide Stick was all the way in L.A.
No, but I know about 123rd Street because that was a Chunky Black and the Panama Red. You can get on that block. But you said you came up with Chunky Black and the Tide Stick.
No, that's right. And that's where the CMB came from. That's where I was able to duplicate myself to send the guys in the block. And they was in the block. They knew they was some of the that was one of the Cash Money brothers all the old time to tell you. Yeah, that's one of them brothers over there. Yeah, I know him, and I know him. Yeah, that's them Cash Money brothers. And that was just an idea. You know, I didn't think it would grow so largely. It's one thing to be able to...
Well, you know what it was? I'm going to tell you, it wouldn't have grown so largely, but that's what movies do. That's what happens. Like, you know, like I idolize Iceberg Slim, okay? I named myself Ice after Iceberg Slim. And what hit me when I'm trying to live out this man's life was, you know what, Ice? He's not just a player, but he's documenting the game. There's going to be a lot of players out there that ain't never going to write no books, so no one will ever know about them. So once your game becomes documented, now the world gets a chance to see it. So even though CMB was happening here in Harlem, there was so many, like the young boys out of Detroit and all these different cliques, but only street niggas know about them. You follow me? But once it kind of gets that mainstream pow, it becomes famous. Right. And CMB, the movie, just took that name into... history.
And that's actually myself at CMB. I was able to duplicate through a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, tell you the power of the mastermind. During a young age at 15 years old, you know, to read the structure. My father was deputy chief also.
So. Was a fire chief? What was he?
He was deputy chief of New York City Fire Department.
Wow.
The next step to commissioner of New York City.
How about that?
Yeah, God bless him too. You know, he did 28 years in the fire department, and you know, watching him study from fireman to captain to lieutenant to chief to deputy chief, battalion chief, and then deputy chief. We had like 5 to 6 promotions.
So your daddy was you were just one of them little rebelling ass kids then, because you had a good
right. He's doing the right thing.
No, you had a good growing up in Esplanade Gardens. You actually had to have money to live in there.
Yes,
no, it wasn't no poor. You know, a place to live in Esplanade Garden. You had to have money. So you actually grew up as a good kid. You just turned out to do what you want to do.
Yeah, it was a different light I saw. It was a light that I followed like everyone else and young men. They followed the idol figures of the world. You know, there were major players that were involved in the game during those ages. But that was turned out to be the wrong way to follow.
So you was after Nicky Barnes then?
Yeah. I met Guy Fisher, Bat, Small, most of the guys that were in that era at the time. Matter of fact, I worked for Guy Fisher, not selling drugs. He actually gave me a start at the Apollo. He put me up along with DJ Hollywood, Smokey Robinson. I was the master of ceremony for 7 nights, and he opened the door. He said, "Man, come here." And when I met with Guy, he was such a gentleman. He said, man, matter of fact, they were all sitting out there in the street, and I told them what I was doing in the venture of comedy. They said, yeah. So I went into a little material, and they had them laughing, falling over the cars. But when I first came up, they said, who this nigga here? Who this nigga here? Mm-hmm. I said, nigga, my name is G Money. He said, G Money. They started laughing. They was falling out. But, you know, they had the real money.
So you call yourself G Money before you made money then?
Well, he was hustling.
I was always G Money. I just protect myself from the innocent by not putting everything in document that I needed to put out there, because there's only 2 of me, and I'm both of them. You know? So I had to put it out there like that, you know, for them to receive me in another way. But yeah, Gerald has been known throughout my family, throughout my lifestyle, and there were other women that were out there that were in the game. But Guy gave me an opportunity to show that the venture that he wanted to see me do, comedy, and that was really good for me, because that opened the door for me for all the big places like Pegasus back in the day, Leviticus. Matter of fact, your boy David Belgian, I used to go down and see him at the Catch a Rising Star.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So let's just wrap up the New Jack thing. When the movie came out, how did y'all feel about it?
Well, my protege told Barry most of the story. I had a protege that worked at the Village Voice with Barry.
Right.
And he was explaining what we were doing as CMB, and me and Nino, how we were operating, because we were the best of friends, and they would think that we were brothers. But, you know, he went off and ventured into his avenue in the game, and I just stayed where I was at. I was comfortable. My father retired from the fire department. He built a house in Santo Domingo.
Right.
I went to Santo Domingo and I met the Dominicans and I became like a trustee.
Mm-hmm.
I was being able to be trusted. And they gave me an opportunity to actually sell weight.
To be trusted.
Yeah,
Right.
be trusted with that type of money in the
So
game.
when did you decide that it was a wrap? I mean, like everybody who's in the game, me, myself, there's a point where you say, I'm done with this. Now, it's usually either a long prison stay or just, somebody close to you gets killed. It's just a moment where you go, I got to come up with another way. What was that point for you?
Well, like anything else, under the influence. One of the greatest things and gifts that most of us was, never to use your own product. Coke was to sample your own.
Never
Coke.
get high on your own supply.
That's right. So it's like you can't expect I always say a monkey will never sell bananas. That's the guy told me a long time ago, so I remember that.
Because he want to eat them.
Well, I was smart. I know the name of the game was to keep a low key. My father always told me, act like the feds are watching you. At that point in life where I was able to take vacations and travel, hang out with the retirees and hang out, I was able to keep that key low while everything else was still moving. So I had established a business that I could retire and leave and it would still be working. Mm-hmm. It worked for a long time. And then I retired. Mm-hmm. Like the name of the game is retirement.
Right.
I retired in the game.
Church.
That was it.
You just said, I'm done. The game, no. That's what people don't understand. I always told people, I said, fame and infamy are polar opposites. When you if you in the streets and you want to be famous, you trying to get caught. It's like you have to be able to stay low key, or you're destined for a serious fall. And those people that learn how to keep it low. But then the thing of it is, you want to you're doing this to kind of get some kind of shine. So it's like a paradox. One side of you is saying, I want to be known. The other side is saying, don't be known. As soon as you're known, they're going to come get you. I saw too many of my friends go down, like people I looked up to.
That's why I ran to comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was safe. That's like Al Green. He ran into the church.
Yeah. No, but it's real. I saw people I admired get taken down. So the dude I'm looking at somebody like you, G Money, and you the man, then all of a sudden you catch a case. My brain was like, well, damn, do I think I'm flyer than him? Like, this is coming. And then as my boys went to prison, they was like, Ice, don't come here, man. This ain't no place. You too fly, man. You know what I'm saying? You got other things you can do.
They were telling you that?
They told me the truth. My boys that was stuck, they was like, this ain't no place for no player, Ice. They got niggas here that don't know nothing about no filet mignon. They don't know nothing about no Dom Perignon. They waking up tying blue rags around their head. They gang banging hardcore up in here. You pass that. Because see, if I go back to prison, then I got to go back to that old guerrilla mentality, which I've left long ago. I'm much more sophisticated at this point. You feel me?
So, Gerald, you got a book now. You saying you trying to work on a movie? Is that something you trying to do right now?
Well, I think history is about to be made again. Lightning will strike twice. New Jack City was a great movie to a lot of youth and a lot of people, but they've got the wrong impression from watching the movie, what Hollywood presented. First of all, let me clear a couple of records up so you know I'm telling you.
Break it down, baby. That's why you're here.
Well, there was no Carter Hotel.
Okay.
Lil Wayne is talking about he's the Carter. He's not even old enough to be part of this system.
Right. Now, they said that the Carter was brought from the situation Felix Mitchell had in Oakland, California, the San Francisco area. Felix Mitchell, another well-known street legend, actually had an apartment building where he ran that. So I think that what Barry Michael Cooper did is he connected a lot of different hustlers' lives together to create this life that the CMB was supposed to have lived. But I know that they said that, no, it wasn't a Carter in the Harlem, but it was an apartment building in, I think, San Francisco where they ran that operation.
Well, we're talking about the CMB, the Cash Money Brothers. We're talking about Nino Brown and Gerald G Money.
Yeah.
These are the two main characters in the movie.
And y'all didn't do that.
First of all, we would never been so stupid with a kick in the door and the whole operation, multi-million-dollar operation is gone. Come on.
Yeah.
That's stupidity. We had enough West Indies that were around to tell you, man, we make one door here, one door here, and one door here, man, boy. And then by that time, man, you're gone, you know. We knew those guys. Plus, we didn't operate in that way. So, you know, a lot of people have been misled.
Right.
First of all, black people don't mess with dynamite.
Right.
We wake up too late. Boom! Holy shit. I done blew up my mama's kitchen. I know I got to get out of here now.
Right.
That's the other part of where they show that dynamite was a part of the CMB operation. You cannot tell me that I would mess with dynamite. I'm scared enough, you know, just messing with firecrackers. Better get dynamite or know anyone I knew. But that's what the difference of Hollywood. Hollywood can take an Italian gangster and make people love, mimic, and idolize them. I didn't look for that. I always believed that to be able to be a blessing to someone else, being in that power position of having money, to be able to do something for somebody else, that's what kept us afloat. We didn't go to jail, get locked up, because it's a matter of like, people spend all their money and you give them an opportunity to say, yo, man, I got you. They respect you and they'll help you to stay out of jail.
Now, is that "Am I not my brother's keeper"? Is that's y'all real saying?
Well, that's been my whole saying all my life. I am my brother's keeper.
Right.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, am I your brother's keeper?
Yeah,
right.
but that's also in the Bible, as the Bible disclosed that too.
But that was the CMB brothers.
That was our
That
relationship.
was your slogan.
Yeah, you know, when I look back and see how this whole thing arrived from everyone talking about, you know, New Jack City. They got all these guys coming out now with the Cash Money Brother Records with Birdman,
Baby and
Lil Wayne. You know, it was great for a long time to hear about all these guys, but I hear that they really got, like Lil Bow Wow. He made New Jack City too. He made an album. He talked about the relationship with him and Jermaine Dupri, how they operated as Gerald G Money and Nino Brown. And there was no relationship that was a conflict between me and Nino Brown and his girl or my girl. But that's what they have to do to project movies and what they did for Hollywood. But all of it just stemmed between two little boys at 15 years old that had a dream that we want to be just like his sister's boyfriend, which is another brother I want to mention by name because it's always been, I'm not a name dropper, but that means the case that we need to talk about it. I got a thing about the camera. I've seen so many people come before the camera talking, I was down with this one, I was down with this one. But all those guys went to jail. My mother used to have an old saying, smart niggas don't go to jail. She was right. You know, I thank God I did have a choice to do anything I wanted to do. I think what kept me safe that I was also, came up before Eddie Murphy. I was there before all those guys came out. Charlie Barnett. What's his name? There's a lot of guys that were in the industry that were looking to come out from the Catch a Rising Star. I was already at the Apollo. But I got out of that and I went into comedy and just stayed like in the airs doing comedy, welcome. I don't know if you remember my voice too. If you hear me with my stage voice, I used to be behind the stage in the back of the Apollo and I would introduce myself. And the voice you would hear at the Apollo would be, "Tuning down the mighty sounds of the Big Apple. We're here at the world famous Apollo Theater. Coming out is that multi-talented Mr. Dynamite, ladies and gentlemen, G Money." Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
You introduced yourself.
Yeah. How you
love
doing? Yeah, close your legs, darling. You got a busy night ahead of you. Hey, darling. Take that and put it where you want to. What'd you say, brother? Won't you and your man play horse? Let him play the head and you be what you are. I'm so good alone, leave me alone and watch me. I will let you hold something in your mouth, but my zipper's stuck. Now let me stop fooling around and start my act. That was one of the keys for me.
G Money's Carl, he come out.
You know what I'm saying? So that was for me.
I told
to
you.
Stay there.
The circus stayed the same, but the clowns changed.
Yeah, but nothing changed about the game but new players. So we hear about all these guys. They got Floyd Mayweather money. Everybody want to do this movie. New Jack, we're waiting on the sequel. We hear about this. We hear about that. Well, we're about to make this movie. I'm going to make it. I got all the players coming in. We're going to have the baddest soundtrack ever made before. The movie in itself is going to be the true story, how we met, how this came about, and to where the world is today and all the involvement what they have with the CMB and Gerald G Money. I talked to Alan Payne, too, and he gave me an understanding. He said, man, I was talking with Barry. He was telling me about how your swag is, how you walk. And I said, yeah, he said, you walk But that was my dad's walk. My dad was so cool. When he came down the hill, he was walking. He had that arm that was swinging. And I adapted it because that's my dad was so cool. So I figured that would be another part. All the characters, all the guys that want to be G Money. God told me, he said, like you said, Ice, there's about 250,000 G Moneys in the federal penitentiary. They got the wrong picture.
Yeah.
They got the wrong
Well, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's based on a true story. You dig? So that's what happens. When you just say base, it just might be 10% of it is true. And then the rest of it is what's going to be good for camera and film. Like when they'll say to me, they'll go, well, Ice, the legend. Then when they say the word the legend, that means there's probably a lot of lies connected to it because it's a legend. You know, legend says you shot 5 niggas with 1 bullet. You know, legends get carried away. You know, I'm like, nah, I didn't do that. And they like, nah, my boy told me, you know, and people build on you because you start off with such a powerful foundation, you know, as being a G Money. You know, like Bishop Juan told me one day, he said, man, Ice, man, do you know you got one of the most cherished and wanted names in the streets? Everybody wants to be Ice, man. He said, but you done stood on it and held it this long. They ain't anybody that tries to call themselves Ice, they gonna say, what, you Ice-T? You Iceberg? You know, you got that name and it's not easy to hold in the streets. They would have took it from you, man. They would have took that name from you, man. Somebody else will be running around here talking about Iceberg. And then, you know, I met Iceberg Slim. And I was like lost for words. I did a movie on him just recently called Portrait of a Pimp. You should check that out on Netflix. And I said, you know, I named myself after you. And he said, well, who better, baby? You know, so I got the cosign from the man, you know, but also to be named Ice, you got to have a pretty cool demeanor. You got to be very cool. They say the key to being cool is when you win, you don't get that happy. And when you lose, you don't get that sad. So somebody say, Ice, you won the lotto. I go, wow. They say, somebody stole your car. I'm like, damn. You dig? And that's the key of cool. You just got to find that medium. And Mickey and them will tell you, say, Ice is... Mickey sometimes tells me, say, man, you remain calm.
Yeah, remain calm all the time.
Rakim says, one must remain calm. And I was in the Army. I was a Ranger. So I was trained, and, you know, first thing they teach you in the military is combat situation is, the first rule is you must not panic. You must not panic. In the most serious situations, the cooler head will prevail. So if this house starts burning down, you can't run around. You have to say, we have to handle this situation. How do we handle this situation? Somebody else yelling, now they're not accomplishing a motherfucking thing. They knocking people down. But, you know, if something is going down and people are coming here and we got to handle this. Mm-hmm. Let's all get now we have to go into ultra focus. But you know what it is, G? It's an honor to meet you. I met you the other night at Mickey's party, and I knew right off the bat you was the real deal because you can always tell. You know how they say game knows game? So I meet people every day that's like, I'm this and I'm that. I'm like, tell that to somebody else. Tell that to somebody that don't know. You know, I could give you the 20-question drug dealer test and find out real quick if you ever been around some real shit or you seen it or something. You know, one thing about what you say, you know why I know it's so honest? And this is just honesty.
Thank you.
It's because anyone who's been in it will not promote it. Anyone who's been there cannot, with any bit of self-dignity, promote it. They always say, I was in the streets. I wouldn't advise anybody else to go there because you know the bloodshed and the horror that goes around with this and the pain that your friends and family and other people have gone through with this. So whenever I hear these rappers or different people telling you, oh, this is something great to be in, I'm like, you ain't never even been in it. You can't possibly consciously promote street hustling at that level to anybody with a conscience. You got to know. And your object is to, like you say, retire. Get in, get out. My buddy, I got one of my most, let me tell you, I'm not going to say his name. The most gangster nigga I know. The most gangster nigga I know in L.A. He's actually a gang leader. He leads a set. Told me the other day, Ice, man, we're straight up cuz once I get my money, when I get my money, if I get my paper right, you're going to see me in some flip-flops walking around carrying a poodle. He said, Ice, I'm trying to get so far from this shit. You're going to see me somewhere in Beverly Hills walking around in some flip-flops carrying a poodle, nigga. That's where I'm trying to get, baby. G Money, we could talk for hours, man, but is there anything you would like to just say to any of the hustlers out there, the players that thought they wanted to be you, that could just let them know what the real G Money's life is about?
Well, first of all, I never acquired anything without the cooperation of other people. Mm-hmm. The more money is involved, the more people involved. You have to study. Your education never stops. I'm constantly, finding better ways to be able to express. As now I'm CEO and president of GM Entertainment. I'm regional vice president of a building maintenance company where I'm employing jobs now to the day. And there are other ways to make money without selling drugs. That's my point of view right now. You don't have to sell drugs to make money. There's so many other ways. I'm never going to destroy a person's dream, because you can dream your way through, and your imagination is one of the keys to have to see yourself already in position. If you don't see it inside, you ain't going to see it outside. If you don't see it that way, my advice to the guys that out here, especially, many guys that claim that they want to be money, G Money, the way that they thought this game went down, and people watch this movie and they idolize the particular characters that were there. We were very lucky that probably our grandmother's prayers probably went over to some of us that escaped what it was that she really felt in her heart that she needed to pray for that boy, because I was on my own at 17 and I wanted to be grown. I didn't listen to my mother. I was disobedient. I wasn't going to have that in my mother's house. So if you want to hit the streets, you want to be like the rest of them thugs out there, you go ahead and see that your bed will be hard. It was my grandmother's prayers that I believe that worked to keep me out of jail, because I never went to jail. So if you were following me, you didn't go, you made the wrong turn. You're supposed to go left, you went right.
You made the wrong turn.
Yeah, so I'm here to tell you now that this game is over. It's been over. There's an old saying, as the scriptures will prevail, the last will be first and the first will be last. I was the beginning of New Jack City, and I'm the rebirth of the New Jack era. My book is The Chronicles of the New Jack Era. It's the official autobiography of my life story. I'm not going to engage with all the players that were involved, because this had nothing to do with them. Right now, I'm speaking out that I'm able to be a blessing to someone else. If you need a job, I have an area website where you can go to.
What's that?
It's called Sandy Environmental, but it's GM Entertainment 1 book at gmail.com. And we'll tell you how we can help you to establish a relationship in building maintenance, sales, and pest control. I have one of the number one pest controls in New York.
Believe it or not, Iceberg Slim, at one point in his life, he was killing roaches. He went into, that's something a player. No, this is real talk. You got to see my movie.
Yeah. He said it. That's what he did.
Yeah, he did that after he got out the game. Once he decided he couldn't pimp no more, he was doing that and stuff. And, it's funny that you hear with your woman and stuff. It's cold, and I'm watching the connection. But the whole movie I did on Iceberg was about him telling her his life stories, and she wrote the books. So all those Iceberg Slim books, he was written by his wife. Mm-hmm. He would stand by the bed and tell her these stories. She'd go, motherfucker, that couldn't have never happened. She said, let me write this down. So it's amazing. But we like to thank you. God bless you, baby. God bless you. You're welcome back here on the podcast anytime, but we got to keep it moving, G Money.
Sure, I understand.
Hold on. Before G Money get up out of here, man, we're going to let our listeners hear Ice-T did from New Jack City, Hustler.
Hustler.
And this was considered Nino's theme. When I did the movie, I was playing the cop, but I said, I can't really write from a cop's perspective. Let me write this song from Nino Brown's.
Would you play Scotty again, Ice?
Nah, I'm not too old to play Scotty right now. I'll sit
too
back.
old?
I'm gonna sit in the director chair. I'll sit back in the director chair and tell one of them little kids, chase him. But this is Nino's theme, New Jack Hustler.
Yo, my favorite.
Hustler, Word, I pull the trigger long. Grip my tea spray to every brother's gone. Got my block sewn on my dope spots. Last thing I sweat, so sucker punk cop. Move like a king when I roll hops. You try to flex, bang, another brother drop. You gotta deal with this cause there's no way out. Why? Cash money ain't never gonna play out. I got nothing to lose, much to gain. In my brain, I got a capitalist migraine. Gotta get paid tonight to keep my hustle right. Quick when I speak, check my free, keep my game tight. So many girls on my jock think I'm a movie star. 19, I got a $50,000 car. Go to school, I ain't going, throw it, kiss my butt, bust the cork on the Moet. Cause I don't wanna hear that crap. Why? I'd rather be a New Jack hustler. Hustler. H-U-S-T-L-E-R, hustler.
Yo, man, you know what I'm saying? You got it going on, my man. I like how it's going down. You got the fly cloth, the girls, the jewels. Look at that ring right there. I know it's real. It's gotta be real. Man, you the flyest I've seen in my life. Yo, man, I just wanna roll with you, man. How can I be damned?
What's up? You say you wanna be down, ease back. A little brother get beat down out my face. Fool, I'm the illest, bulletproof. I die harder than Bruce Willis. Got my crew in effect, I bought them new Jags. So much cash, gotta keep it in hefty bags. All I think about is keys and G's. Imagine that, me working in Mickey D's. That's a joke, cause I'm never gonna be broke. When I die, there'll be bullets and gun smoke. You don't like my lifestyle, you. I'm rolling with the New Jack crew. And I'm a hustler. H-U-S-T-L-E-R, hustler. New Jack, New Jack, New Jack, hustler. New Jack, hustler. New Jack, New Jack, New Jack, hustler. New Jack, hustler. New Jack, New Jack, New Jack, hustler. New Jack, hustler. Here I come, so you better break north. As I stride, my gold chains glide back and forth. I care nothing about you, and that's evident. All I love is my dope and dead presidents. Sound crazy? Well, it isn't. The ends justifies the means, that's the system. I learned that in school, then I dropped out. Hit the street, checked the grip, and now I got clout. I had nothing, and I wanted it. You had everything, and you flaunted it. Turned the needy into the greedy. With cocaine, my success came speedy. Got me twisted, jamming to a paradox. Every dollar I get, another brother drops. Maybe that's the plan, and I don't understand. Damn, you got me sinking in quicksand. But since I don't know, and I ain't never learned, I gotta get paid. I got money to earn with my posse out on the air. Bump my sounds, crack a 40 and laugh. Cool out and watch my new Benz gleam. Is this a nightmare or the American dream? So think twice if you're coming down my block. You want to journey through hell when things get hot. Pregnant teens, children scream. Life is weighed on the scales of a triple beam. You don't come here much and you better not wrong move. Bang! Ambulance cot. I gotta get more money than you got. So what if some other brother gets shot? That's how the game is played. Another brother say the wound is deep, but they giving us a band-aid. My education's low, but I got long no face like a pit bull. My heart pumps nitro. Sleep on silk, fly like a politician. My Uzi's my best friend, cold as a mortician. Lock me up in genocidal catastrophe. There'll be another one after me, a hustler. H-U-S-T-L-E-R, hustler.
Hey, yo, this is Final Level Podcast number 31 with the original
Gerald
Money.
G Money.
Nothing I like better than talking to the truth. Like I said,
Hey, you know what, though, to be honest, man, he spilled a lot of good game up here in reference to the New Jack City. I think that was important for our listeners because they knew you played in that movie and we talked about it before, but to get an original from the Esplanade Gardens, that was kind of hot.
Mickey, you know, you always look into movies and it says, is this a true story? It never is. It says, based on a true story.
Gotcha.
And then at that point, you know, they start making it happen the way they want to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And like I was saying that they merged a drug operation from California
to New York
to make it better for the film. And like you said, we wouldn't have done no crazy shit like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now it's time for one of my favorite parts of this podcast, which is philosophy. Philosophy segment comes from Twitter, my Final Level page, where every day I put out something. I try to. A lot of times they say, well, you don't do the daily game every day. I'm like, because I'm working. I got shit to do. I get on Twitter when I got a free moment or something. But the other day I put out one that's very simple.
Okay, what was that?
You will never be able to make everyone happy. How simple is that?
Very simple.
You'll never.
And you can't.
You just can't make everybody happy, and especially like if you got kids and stuff. Part of being a parent is them being unhappy sometimes. You know, they can't be happy because if you make somebody happy all the time, you're probably bullshitting them. You're not being honest, and anything you say could potentially offend G Money. Anything he says, you just have to just be honest with yourself and kind of just let, like, I don't know who said this a long time ago, but they said there's no guaranteed way to win. The guaranteed way to lose is to try to make everybody happy. How you feel about that, G?
Well, you're absolutely right about that. You know, I have an old saying too. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. If you don't step forward, you'll always be in the same place.
Same stuff, baby. You got to ask for it. Mickey does that to me all the time. He goes, "I'm just asking, man.
Exactly.
All
I look for is fair, baby. That's all.
Just say no.
Say no, and I'll move on."
And sometimes in life, I know I make Mickey unhappy, but he gets over because I love him. Yeah, but it's not what he wants to hear. But if I go, "Oh, this is what he wants."
Every time,
then I'm going to be unhappy. Now, and a lot of people spend their life unhappy because they spend so much time trying to make everybody else happy.
So you're telling me the doctor told you your famous word to tell people is what, sir?
No. I went to a doctor one time. I had stomach problems, and I was going through a lot of issues when I first got a little fame. And the doctor said, "There's nothing wrong with your stomach." And he sent me to a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist listened to me talk, and he says, "I got a prescription for you." He wrote the word no on a piece of paper. He says, "You got to just say no." He said, because once you say yes, you've just taken on someone else's problem. So like G Money, if you say, "Ice, can you take me to the airport tomorrow?" I say, "Yes." I got to get the gas. I got to get there. I got to pick you up on time. I got to get you to the airport on time. See all those problems that now no longer are yours. You're just waiting on me now. You just handed your problems over to me. "Ice, can you pay my rent this month?" No. If I say yes, I have to be on time. I got to have the right amount. I got to get all these things become your problems with the simple yes. I mean, Mickey,
so you can't do a maybe?
Well, what happens is I found out, and I don't take this wrong, but you can't ever say yes to anybody broke, because a broke person will take that yes and they'll get a loan against that yes or a maybe. So in other words, if you say, "Ice, can I get $1,000? No. How about next month? No. How about around Christmas? Maybe. You take a loan out with other people. You say, "Ice is going to pay me in Christmas and now if I don't pay you in Christmas for that $1,000, you'll be mad at me."
Yeah,
See,
for sure.
A person that has something, if you turn a yes into a no, they won't get angry. But people that don't have anything, they really count on those yeses. And I've been a broke person before too, so I understand what it's like when you say yes and then you say no. So you just try to avoid saying yes until you are gonna do it. And then you're called a man of your word. Some people are very difficult to get a yes out of for that simple reason. You dig? So you guys got anything to chime in on this philosophy?
The moral of the story is don't take on anybody else's problem.
Just
say no.
And also,
just say no. Now, if you're going to do it later, if you're going to do it later, you will. But you didn't make a guarantee I'm going to do it. I said, no, I can't do it. I may call you tomorrow and say, "Hey, I got it for you, baby." You'd be more happier.
You can't make people happy. Mickey, all day you are between me and most people, and they want you to say yes.
And I say no. I say no, or I'll check with you, and I say, "Look, I'm just asking you, can you do this tomorrow or next week?" "No, hey, look, we're not going to be able to do it." Because if you don't bring it to you still, you might have said yes. So
you never know. That's another mistake.
Ice, you are a true gentleman. I've met a lot of guys in my life, but for me to have had an honor to have met you, your hospitality, your friendship and relationship with Mick Benzo, and the relationship that you shared with us about bringing the old into the new, man, you're a scholar, baby. You are my brother's keeper.
Well, you know what? That's all I ever wanted. I always looked up to fly people. I hung around doulo niggas, okay? I never wanted to be a doulo nigga. I never liked them, and they always get theirs in the end. I always wanted to be an honorable person. And what happens in life is it's more about what people say when you're not around them than when you are. So you want people to speak highly of you. 50 Cent gave me the best quote, and I'll never live it down. He says, "No man can be great alone. You're only great when other great men speak of you in high regard."
Speak and boast of nothing of yourself. Let others boast of you to tell you, like they said in the old days, who do man say that I am? I've heard that tale before. And there's so many people today, they live to be somebody else. You know, be yourself. You know, I just have to speak up a lot of that because the fact is that so many people claim to be G Money in the relationships and so on. But Ice, you the man himself, baby.
Hey, yo, my pimp buddy Kenny Red said it best, man. If you got to tell me who you are, you obviously ain't nobody. If it's real, it's going to show. If it's real, it's going to be out there. Everybody's going to know who you are. It's not a problem. You ain't got to show. If you fly, it's going to show. You just ain't got to tell me you fly. You just got to walk in the room. I used to tell my wife that about she get up in the club. I'm like, Coco, you don't even got to do nothing. Just standing up, you shitting on these bitches. Just stand up. That's all. You don't got to do much. Just stand up. And you just did it. That's all it took. Hey, G Money, anything you want to say on the way out? Send out to anybody?
Well, yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Pam. I'd like to give out to you. You and I are one. Radio. I'd like to give a shout out to my man, John. I'd like to thank my special relationship with my baby Tina as my other half over here. Got an engagement in the mix. You know, we're going to get married very soon. And I'd like to give a shout out to all the CMB brothers that are still around and my CMS sisters. You know, behind every Cash Money brother, there's a Cash Money sister. Well, we got the CMS getting ready to come surface in a little while. And we're going to be speaking in schools and colleges, mentoring to a lot of the young brothers coming in and out of jail, needing direction, to the women out there who, you know, falling short and need help as a parent. You know, we're going to be there to pick you up. My website is GeraldGmoney.com. And as I mentioned before earlier, Ice, you know, we're going to give an opportunity to help people with their jobs. And I just want to let you know, we're all going to make this movie. We're going to get all the players engaged with who
Well, I'm involved, baby. I'm involved. You know, just let me get in where I fit in. You dig what I'm saying? I can't be chasing Chris Rock around no more. Man, my knees hurt.
Well, he said he was a director.
I'm bust a cap in his ass. First step he takes out of the
You know, I come a long way from New Jack City. What you trying to tell me? You're talking about me? Are you crazy?
I'm going to shoot your ass. I'm not running. Hey, G Money,
this is
been
Final
real.
Level Podcast number 31. We about to be up out here, as I always tell you, IceTFinalLevel.com. And guess what? I'd rather see you than be you. Good God. We're going.
Peace.
Hey, amen.
That's how I'm living. 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 That's how I'm living.